Hi, my name is Dave Cuthbertson and I'm going to take you through how you can import and refresh data in AssetGen Connect from external sources. One of the key things we want to do with AssetGen is get information in as quickly as possible so that we can then create all these different types of outputs for both planning, operations and also to do overnight updates. The key issue is how do you get the AssetGen started to then get all of these outputs. We have lots of information already available, probably in Excel, Visio, databases such as monitoring systems, and we have a number of choices as to how we get the information in. And what we'll do is we'll split this down into two sections. The first one is the initial data load, where we've done audits or we've extracted information out of the various existing documentation systems to bring into AssetGen to fully populate it. And typically the process we'll go through is cabinets, then the equipment in the cabinets, and then we'll connect them all together. The second part will then be how do we then continually refresh and update those equipments and cabinets with data from the monitoring systems and other tool sets, even existing spreadsheets. Here is the AssetGen user interface, and what we're going to do is completely build out a whole data center in New York during this video. So in the computer room, as you can see, there are no cabinets, and so this is the start of the import process within AssetGen. In the utility section we have a number of import options, and the data loader is our bulk load, typically for first time, but also where we want to create new environments as part of our planning, so we completely can build out a data center from a series of spreadsheets. To start with, we will determine the type of import, so let's do cabinets. We choose a spreadsheet or CSV file with a list of cabinets, and if I open and bring this in, this is typically what will be in that spreadsheet. We will have the name of a cabinet, we'll have a template for default settings, and we'll have a few other details. That's all we need. We press the import button, and this will then extract the data from the spreadsheet and update AssetGen. And if I now go and look in the viewer in New York, we can now see we have all the various cabinets, and if I click on cabinet number 5, we can see this is 48 units high, and it has some notes that have come in from the spreadsheet. Second part is now bringing all the equipment. So we go to the utilities, back to data loader, and now we'll bring in equipment. We select a file to import from. Let's have a look at this file. Here is an example of the file where we're specifying the building, the room, the location, the name of the equipment, and also the type of equipment, and we normally specify a template name to bring in yet again default settings. The various other settings which is specified in the product to allow us to then automatically position and place the equipment, which could be a combination of patch panels, power strips, servers. It doesn't really matter. We'll fit out the complete whole infrastructure. Likewise, we import that, and it will then populate all of the cabinets with all of the equipments, and it will also populate chassis devices with all their cards, such as a Cisco switch, a Blade server, and so on. Is the import now finished? If we now go and look in the viewer, and we look in New York, in the data center, in the computer room, we can open up the cabinet, so we can now see there's a number of pieces of equipment in the cabinet. We can look at the cabinet diagram, and we can see equipment position both in the front and the rear, and we can now create all the rack diagrams and floor plans for this data center, and I've brought in about 40 odd equipment cabinets. The final stage is to bring in all of the connectivity. I won't show necessarily the file format here, but suffice it to say this will then bring in all the connectivity for both backbone and also for all patching and all power within the data center. And if we now go and look at the viewer, we can now see that in New York we look at a particular piece of equipment such as the web server, and we can see there's all of its connections there. I can click on the web server, do a port trace to see all the endpoints, and I can always then do a complete blueprint of its connectivity through all the patching infrastructure. So here is a complete patching report to allow you to build or decommission that server, all from effectively 3 spreadsheets: cabinets, equipment and connectivity. The next stage is to refresh all of the attributes for the equipments and the cabinets, And I'll take an example that here we have a power strip, for instance. We have some fields within here. You can see there's an audit trail and everything. And what we'll do is we'll refresh information from a monitoring system to then fill in all the power figures for all of the different power strips. Under Utilities, we have an Attribute tab. This then allows us to create various data maps which will take in information from different data sources. So here, for instance, we have a system called AddInfo, which is a monitoring system for data center power. We choose the particular, in this case, a monitoring output from their management tool. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. So this particular import is identifying it's a device, the type of data, the average and maximum peak values for power, and we're going to bring this into every power strip so we can then use this for management reporting. I click the import button. This refreshes all of the data on all of those power strips, and we have a report here that then shows us what the previous values were and the new values on every single one of the power strips in case there are any naming conventions or issues with some of the data. If I now go and look at some of the power strips within that data center, and I look at this one here, for instance, I look at the attributes and we can see that we have the values and they've been updated because all changes, even through the automated updates, go into an audit log so we can track that back. And it's exactly the same process for any information from existing spreadsheets, asset systems, monitoring tools, discovery systems, and I can now run and rerun that data import from any different things. And here's some examples where you may want to import from Cisco Works or SolarWinds or other power monitoring strips as a way of refreshing and keeping the data up to date, because it would be valuable to have it in AssetGen and allow us then to report for management purposes consolidated figures. So to summarize, I hope that's shown you then how simple and easy it is to bring in all the information of existing environments, the legacy environments, and also then to completely refresh equipment and attributes by creating a data map to each particular data source, which will then overcome things like field names and other issues where we have a more consistent approach in our system, but we have multiple feeds and sources. Thank you very much for watching this, and please look at our other videos that will then show you how once you've got the data you can then create rack diagrams, network diagrams, all from the set of data I've just shown you.